everybody, and welcome. Welcome back. Another episode of the Going Over podcast. And before I start, I'd like to humbly apologize to all you out there who are probably sitting right there with your phones either turned straight up this way or had them sideways. You had the zipper down and you were ready for a beautiful episode of the Going Over podcast. It is I, your neighborhood friendly coach, trainer, promoter, and 44-year-old professional wrestler, Zack Primetime Reeb, and I'm joined alongside the man who on my very first Facebook Live I said was down and out for a few days, had to get the stomach pumped at the old emergency room, I would imagine. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the program, The Wrecking Ball. All 7 feet of him, Big Paul Isadora. What's up, Big Pal?
No, not much, man. I just I can't help but chuckle when you go, "Hey, Steve." It just reminds me of
Thank you,
Michael Keaton in Multiplicity.
Instagram, Steve,
Just
followers,
just makes me laugh. Yeah,
man.
so obviously, you never call me Steve. You always call me Paul. So when you call me on the phone, you're leaving messages and you're talking to Steve. It's almost like you're talking to someone completely different. So I don't know. And it's funny because it's one of those deals at work as well. When people call me Steven, I'm like, obviously we're not friends if you're calling me Steven. And then it's like, then you can kind of tell the genres of where people know you from. Someone calls me Paul, they probably know me from wrestling. Someone calls me Steve, they probably know me from somewhere else. And, and there might be some other derogatory terms that people call me from playing basketball with me or something. So just who knows, right? But
I'm going to be honest. My name is Zack, and not too many people call me just Zack. And we're not talking about the wrestler from SPW, just Zack. We're talking about my name is Zack. That's my name on everything, Z-A-C-K. And when you spell it Z-A-C-H, I just want to Z-A-C-H, I just want to paintbrush you from the back. But I don't get called Zack very often. But that's what I know myself as, Zack. Zacky Joe. Hey, it's Zacky Joe. You know what? A very relaxing weekend, a very fun weekend. I sat down and I watched. I had a blast with all the people that were here, but I sat down and I watched the worst, the absolute worst Royal Rumble that I had ever seen. And I have to defend something real quick on this Royal Rumble. And I know everyone's saying Triple H is playing itself. We got this milk toast booking. But what really bothered me about the Royal Rumble, it wasn't the women's Rumble. It wasn't the men's Rumble. I could have found some faults in there. Like I said, I just enjoyed hanging out with great people, cooking for great people, watching great people enjoy themselves. That's one of the things in this recovery now is I enjoy watching people that I care about enjoying themselves. And that's something really cool, man. It's so unselfish. It's humbling. It's rewarding to me. But what really bothered me about the Rumble, it wasn't even that AJ Styles lost. It wasn't even that Sami Zayn once again didn't win the championship. It's the fact that both of those matches were back-to-back. And both of those matches were so similar to each other. You got Gunther, this indestructible, very powerful, larger heel, taking on the underdog, sort of smaller baby face. And that's what it was. It was this big guy chopping and beating down this baby face and he beat him. It was good, but he beat him relatively very convincingly. And then now the next match is another big, large, overpowering man in Drew McIntyre taking on a underdog like Sami Zayn, and they're doing the chops. And it was a very decisive and very convincing victory for the heel again, which I thought the Sami Zayn Drew McIntyre match was terrible. So they should have put terrible ahead of not terrible. But instead they put not terrible first with the same, virtually the same style matchup, honestly. And then they gave us terrible. So we should have got Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn, which I thought was terrible. And then you could have given us not terrible with AJ Styles and Gunther. But since they gave us the good stuff first, and the next match had no chance after this match with 2 Rumbles and 2 singles matches, if McIntyre and Sami Zayn would have gone number 2 after the Women's Rumble, maybe it would have been not as terrible. But it had to follow AJ Styles versus Gunther. And I'm going to say this real quick and we can get going on all this. That referee in the AJ Styles match, I don't know if they have a love connection. I don't know if he has a crush on AJ Styles, but Gunther's beating on him in the corner, and even in the submission, he was like, AJ, what do you say, AJ? Oh. And he's like, Gunther, leave him alone in the corner. And he's pushing Gunther away. And I'm thinking in my head, this guy's been wrestling for 26 years. From WCW to Japan and the Bullet Club to TNA Impact, all this WWE for the last 10 years. He can't take a beating in the corner? Like, the referee killed me even thinking AJ Styles was tough in this one. And that's what I wanted to throw out there is like, if you got 2 matches that are so similar, which you shouldn't even have them on the same fucking card, let alone back to back. But if you got matches that are too similar, go ahead and put the one that you know isn't going to be as good as the other one before the other one. So we don't have to watch a master class and then turn around and watch the Temu version of the fucking master class. Sorry, man. I got a lot on my mind today. It's been a minute.
So I don't know, man. It's funny because you listen to Ugly prior to the Royal Rumble, and he's talking about how somebody was asking him why he doesn't, why he's not up on the product, and and he's explaining how much wrestling product there is out there, and how time consuming it would be to to know all the storylines and be up to date on every wrestling product that's going on out there. And then I talked to you right afterwards, and you're talking about, that it was disappointing. It wasn't, it just wasn't good and things like that. So it's just, oftentimes I feel bad because I don't know what's going on with WWE, and you're filling me in, and I'm kind of giving my 2 cents based off of a description that you're giving and things like that. But it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's going downhill. We talked about how the John Cena thing, the whole last year, the retirement tour type thing was maybe wasn't exactly what everyone expected, and they didn't have to put a whole lot of effort because they knew people were going to come. They were going to pay for a ticket. They wanted to see John Cena for the last time in their town. So you didn't have to put a whole lot of effort into storyline stuff because you knew the buildings were going to be full. And then it's like when John Cena retires, then you're just like, oh, they got a whole bunch of stuff that they can be doing right now. And then to hear that the next event is disappointing as well, obviously is sad to hear, moving forward. But I guess going back to the matches that are similar, being back to back, we talk about that all the time about like be a student of the game, right? You should be, and you had mentioned it before when Arsonist was coming up and asking people if they were going to do something specific. I don't remember if it was like if they were using a chair or something along those lines, right? Is anybody doing this in their match? And everyone was kind of giving him a hard time. It was like, oh yeah, I'm doing that, but he was just doing the right thing and asking specifically for the reason that we're talking about right now, because he didn't want something similar to happen in his match that was also going to happen in someone else's match. So that's, I don't know, man. It's one of those deals where you need to be a student of the game. You have to be watching the other matches before you. You have to be asking questions about other people, like, hey, is anyone working this body part, right? Because so many times I feel like I've watched matches where a guy is working the leg in the first match. Like, oh, that was, some stuff happened and maybe it was creative or whatever. And then the next match, the guy's working the leg. And it's like, God, man, didn't you guys watch the match before you, or didn't you talk to the person before you? Or, a lot of times you're sitting within earshot of someone in the locker room. And if you hear that someone's doing something, you're like, all right, let's not do that. Let's go a different direction. So to hear that on the biggest stage, you have back-to-back matches that are very similar as far as the story is very disappointing, to say the least. But I guess what would you expect in those two different matches? What should the story be with Gunther and AJ, if it's not the bigger guy beating up the smaller guy? And then what should the story be in Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn, if it's not the bigger guy beating up the smaller guy? Like, should there have been some sort of should the roles have been reversed in one of the matches? How would you have put it together if we're Sunday afternoon quarterback backseat booker? If we're going to put these two matches together, how would you put these two matches together so you didn't have that, other than putting the better one second?
Well, it's formulaic, right? Like, we don't need a women's rumble. And I'm not saying we don't need a women's rumble because I'm against a women's rumble. We just didn't, we don't need that. We have the men's rumble, right? And the women's rumble, it got good at the end. I have no problem with Liv Morgan winning. I was kind of pulling for Rochelle Rodriguez. To be honest with you, I was pulling for Sol Ruca, because I'm the type of guy, I think the veteran guys should be around, and I think the stars should be around, but it's also in creating new stars. So in this situation, a Vince McMahon era, right? Vince McMahon, the titles are on the line at the Rumble. I'm not saying the titles weren't on the line here, but I mean all the titles. The tag team championships would be on the line. The intercontinental championship would be on the line. And there would be one Rumble, because that's what you're selling this show off of. And everything's just so formulaic now. It's like, we need a women's Rumble. Got to have a men's Rumble, a women's Money in the Bank, a men's Money in the Bank, a women's Hell in a Cell, a women's Elimination Chamber. We have to, whatever the men are doing, the women have to have it too. But that's where the booking becomes bad. Now, if you build the booking up right and the story calls for a War Games match, or there's enough story going into the women's Rumble, but it's like everybody's saying, and you get into this it's a sold show. They built a fucking stadium, for crying out loud, in less than a month. You know what I mean? And I cannot stand these LED lights. I saw them at Money in the Bank in LA, at whatever arena that is. And they put them up there, and it makes the place look empty. Whether it's empty or not, it makes the place look empty. So it's very unattractive and unappealing to an audience watching. And I don't know why they have the LED lights. Maybe they think it's cool, but we don't always need this, right? Like Hell in a Cell was special. So if every year we know at this time we're going to have this exact same card at every single show, okay, I win the Royal Rumble. Cool. But now there's 2 championships you can challenge for. And then now we go to the Elimination Chamber. And there's 2 women's championships and there's 2 men's championships. So we're going to go to the Elimination Chamber, wherever the fuck that's at. And we're going to have a men's and a women's Elimination Chamber where 2 people are going to win. A man and a woman's going to win this. And I start getting confused because I'm like, okay, Roman Reigns won. So I guess it's Roman Reigns and CM Punk. We got that from wherever it's been building. That's the biggest match you can make. But how long has Roman Reigns ever won the world title? I guess not. So now Roman Reigns is going after the world title. And the world title's on Raw. But wait a minute. I thought Cody Rhodes and the WWE Championship, the WWE logo belt, was the most important. That's not as important now. Which fucking belt's more important? I don't fucking know. I'll be honest. I think Stephanie Vaquer is the women's world champion. And I believe Jade Cargill, maybe it's Jade Cargill, is the WWE women's. Like the fact that I'm saying everything I'm saying, and we got to go to a Rumble, and there's 2 world titles on both sides, women's and men's, and then we go to a chamber, and this fucking structure sends us to fucking WrestleMania, and then after WrestleMania, it's a goddamn Money in the Bank ladder match that gets you to here, and whoever wins the King of the Ring gets you a title shot. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. It is a hoopla. I mean, it used to be you win the Rumble, you get the big shot at WrestleMania. That's the Super Bowl. That's the World Series, the NBA Finals. And then the season starts back up again, and the guy defends his belt, and SummerSlam and Survivor, whatever. I'm so confused. And there's too much. And the same's in indie wrestling. And this is going to be a great topic for the rest of the time, but let me answer the question and shut the fuck up. I would have not booked a women's Rumble because it was not needed. The men's Rumble would have been fine. We could have put more emphasis on that. I would have booked a few more matches, and I would have opened the event with one of those matches, and then I would have had the other match right there. But to have those matches back to back, obviously they were going to book it, right? So if you're going to book it, like I said earlier, but when I first fucking went off on all this tangent about all this weird, too much of everything, I would have put Drew and Sammy first because it wasn't going to be as good as Gunther and AJ Styles. And that's not that it wasn't going to be as good on that night. It's not going to be as good. Gunther is more over than Drew. Gunther is a better, more realistic performer than Drew and has way more heat. AJ Styles is way better than Sami Zayn. One match is going to be better. Just go ahead and throw the other one out there so we don't think it's as bad by putting it on behind the match that's clearly going to be better. They buried Drew and Sammy. They stood no chance. The matches are very similar. Both heels won in convincing fashion. One guy got choked out, raised the arm one time, it's over. And the other guy got hit with a fucking Claymore and then hit him with the second one while he was down on his knees and rolled over, just laid on him on his back. You would have been pissed. He didn't even cover the shoulders. That's what we were all saying here. Paul would have been pissed. But, yeah, they should have just flipped those 2 around. It was just incredibly, terribly. It was just a horribly booked show. And it's like you have all this talent. I think that's what kind of drives me insane sometimes is like you have all the pieces of the puzzle, both companies do, to be incredibly just deep with what they're doing. And then they're just like, hey, you want some milk on that toast? What's your favorite yogurt? You like just vanilla? I do too. But you want some vanilla booking? Because we don't care. So that's what I would have done. I would have put I would have flip-flopped those matches and leave the women's rumble because I don't want to get into a debate of if we needed it or if we needed that match or not. We did not. We did not need that women's rumble because it was just 3/4 of it was just a waste of time. Nobody was even trying to throw anybody over the top rope. It was spot after spot after spot after spot. I saw 3 tornado DDTs within the first 10 entrants. It's a fucking rumble. What are we doing tornado DDTs? But that's my take.
Well, no, I think that's a perfect perfect point. You know, I watched, you know, just little clips, and it's like you see Brock Lesnar getting ready to German suplex Cody Rhodes, and Cody sees someone behind them, and he's like trying to flail himself so he doesn't land on the other person. And it's like, that's the reason that we're not doing spots in the middle of this fucking battle royal, is because you don't want to get thrown on somebody else. You don't want to be trying to run the ropes where other people are standing in the middle of the ring. And it seems like the most basic elementary things that you're telling somebody, like, hey, your first match is going to be some sort of battle royal, right? You're not going to be, don't shoot a guy off and, you know, give him a move, or don't pick a guy up and try to give him something, because there's going to be, you know, 25 other people in there, and you're going to throw someone down on someone else's leg, or break someone's, you know, just throw someone on top of someone else. So it's one of those, just one of those situations where you see it happening and you're just like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, what? Why are you picking someone up and trying to throw him like blindly? You don't know what's going on behind you, and you know, it's just the possibility of getting injured is so high in those situations where you're like, you know, oh, let's you know, shoot me off, brother. I'll leapfrog you, drop down, watch the drop kick, Hurricane Rana, just all this, you know, all the different stuff going on in the battle royal. It's like, I couldn't believe watching that, that this is the, you know, in theory, the highest level of the sport, right? Watching that happen. But I don't know. I think that's just a good lesson. You know, if you do have something, which obviously you do have coming up with a battle royal type situation, where it is a great lesson to go, hey guys, the goal is to throw someone over the top rope, right? You're not going to fucking power bomb someone so they're unconscious, because then you're going to have to lift their lifeless body up, all the dead weight of this person, and you're going to have to try to throw them over the top rope. So that's probably not the best strategy to have, you know.
A lot of that.
So I don't know, man. It's funny to think about. And I don't know, man. I think so many things. Like, I always think about things that we talk about on the podcast. I'm like, this should be common knowledge for people. Like, we're probably talking to people and go, and I'm thinking that people are watching the podcast going, yeah, no shit, guys. That's exactly right. You know, like, I don't know. It just makes me laugh. But it's like, there obviously are so many people that have no idea of what you should be doing. So that's why we're having to talk about these different subjects of how to do things. And, you know, but I think getting back to your point of the not needing to have, you know, and I guess it's an equality thing, right? It's like, oh, well, hey, whatever the men are going to do, the women have to be able to do as well. It can't be like back in the day where it was an oddity or an abnormality to have someone like China enter the Royal Rumble, and it's like, oh shit, she's going to come in here and compete with everybody else, and you know, and show her worth, and you know, show that she's something special. You know, it's like, oh well, let's just we'll just put you guys in your own Rumble, so that way it's not going to have the wow factor. It's just going to be like, oh well, we'll we'll just put you with your own gender, and you guys can fight it out over there. And then everything isn't quite as impressive as when you'd have people that would be like, oh, this person's entering, and Beth Phoenix or somebody like that, where it's like, okay, this is somebody, you think about like a Maple, for instance, somebody that you go, oh, she's going to get in the ring and she legitimately has a chance to kick this dude's ass because she's tough, So I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer is. Can you go back from having all of these things where you go, okay, well, there's going to be a men's rumble and there's going to be a women's rumble and there's going to be a men's Hell in a Cell and a women's Hell in a Cell. Can you backtrack from that stage, or are we too far gone?
You can. You can fix anything in life. 100%. That's the thing that we talk about is, okay, what the fuck did we have Sami Zayn? What do you do with him now? Maybe you flip him over to be a bad guy and slam a midget at WrestleMania or something again, get body slammed by Wee Man, something. It's like, we've killed this guy off. I say we, like me and WWE are like, yeah, like that's my football team. You killed this guy off. LA Knight's just a piece of shit. Fucking Brock Lesnar, what do you do? Like, who came out looking like just awesome at the Royal Rumble was Gunther. He chokes out AJ Styles, retires him. He comes out number 30 in the Rumble. It's down to him and Roman Reigns, and then he's choking out Roman Reigns at the end. He ends up losing, but I mean, what a night for that guy, right? He looked like a badass, retired AJ Styles and almost beat Roman Reigns at the very end, got to come out number 30. But the thing is, it's like we could have had a women's championship match. Could have had a couple of them. Whatever. We did not need the women's rumble. Or we didn't need 30 women in the women's rumble. I don't know. I just know that there's just so much. The end was good. I like the end of the women's rumble. Like at the very end, it was all right. But there's just so much going on. And then you got to talk about, like, you're in Saudi Arabia, man. You know what I mean? A woman can't go to a female can't go to the show unless they're accompanied by a man. And then you got 25,000 people who built the arena and probably got a free ticket. The prince was probably like, if you get this thing built in 1 month, you all get free tickets to the event. But you have 30. I thought the funniest part was 25,000 Saudi Arabians chanting, "Whoop that trick." That's that's something they probably don't have a problem with right there. Whoop that trick. And it's just, God, it was so late there too. Like if we got it at 11 a.m. here, then what is it there? Like 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that when this thing ended. You got your kids out. They didn't really know anybody but the big stars. You know what I mean? Brie Bella came back and the entire place was chanting yes, yes, yes. And it's like, they're not even chanting yes because Brie Bella's back. They're chanting yes because they know that's Brian Danielson's wife. You know what I mean? So it just shows you the traction of where WWE is going. Roman Reigns did an interview the other day, and he said that WWE hasn't done a very good job of creating stars. Hasn't done a very good job. That's a pretty. Let me escape this answer because they've done a shit job. They've really done a shit job of just being like, hey, we know you fuckers are gonna watch, right? You're going to watch. You're going to pick up some fucking streaming service and something else, and you're going to add this on. But I mean, the product is very bland right now. It's very bland, and I hear a lot of podcasters, but it's like the women's rumble, and that is like Jim Cornette. he's got a lot of shit over the years saying it, but he says, we're putting a hat on a hat. That's what we're doing. Got a hat on. And I'm going to go ahead and throw this beanie on too. Do I look cool? The beanie should be over my ears, keeping me warm, but I'm going to wear the hat on my head and leave my ears exposed and just set the beanie on top of the hat like this and be like, hey, what do you think? I'm a conhead. I'm a conhead. It's not hard to do, man. I mean, it's for some people, but Jesus Christ, man. Just everybody's got their own opinion of this shit. I say it all the time. There's so much wrestling, right? Like I have to have my own roster because I can't. You like to book other people, and that's understandable right now because you don't have your own roster of guys. And with the school starting back up, once you get there, you're going to completely understand what I'm saying because there's so much wrestling going on. But 28 to 31 companies from up there with you down in here with me to Sacramento to the Bay Area stuff. There's 31 and they're all running every weekend, right? Like I made the comment, I said, who would be dumb enough to run against the Royal Rumble? And then Brandon Nash messaged me and he was very displeased with the Rumble. And I just kept messing with him. He was like, oh, worst Rumble ever, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, they promised us surprises and it was going to be epic. And I said, you don't think Mr. Iguana Man coming out in the Rumble was not a good surprise? And I could tell he was getting a little more perturbed with me, And then I'm like, are you telling me La Parka number 4 was not a good, you know what I mean? And it's like, no, you're right. I understand. But to me, it's not worth getting angry over. You know what I mean? It's not, but there's so much wrestling. You cannot book somebody from somewhere else and unless they're your own talent, especially here locally in the indies, and expect that you're going to get the return out of them, man. If it's a homegrown product or it's someone that's based out of your promotion, is your trainer or whatever, then yeah. But it's the same thing as it was a long time ago. It's you got talent coming from somewhere else and the trainer, the booker or whatever the fuck is going to go, hey, yeah, you can use this talent, but if we got a show, their priority is our show. So nothing has changed. We're nicer to each other and people are working all over the place, but it's not a consistent thing. You know what I mean? Like Illumide, just like Illumide works for you. And then Illumide is the champion of WCWF. And then Illumide works for Ugly Dojo. And then Illumide works for Oasis Pro. And Illumide works for me. And there's nothing wrong. Illumide works for SPW. He works all over. And I'm just using him as an example because that's the first name that just popped into my head and that we use too. Because we don't use too many people other than a few spots here. But it's like there's so much going on that you can't really ask somebody that's not part of your company to commit to something you're doing because there's so much. And now it's like you got to book like a year out, but now everyone's just got all these, SPW's got the third Sunday of every month. East Bay Pro runs every single Saturday. These guys have this date. And now you sit here and you go, well, I already booked these guys out for the third Sunday of every month. Yeah, I know you did. At least the Sunday date's not one that really conflicts too much with everything. But there's just so many companies, so many shows where it would be better, right, if there was like 50 solid wrestlers. And I'm not saying everyone has to be a veteran, but 50 solid wrestlers from a lot of quality places, and everybody worked in less promotions. And the work rate was a lot better. There'd be more money to be made too. But then you got 31 companies, if that's the magic number, and then you got 1,000 fucking wrestlers opposed to 50. And now everybody's wrestling everywhere. And it doesn't affect me as far as what I'm doing, but I'm just saying if you're someone that doesn't have your own roster, you haven't spent the time to create your own roster, you could get fucked in certain situations.
Very true. I was thinking about, you talk about people are working together and be nicer to each other, and you have the NorCal United coming up next weekend, and I was thinking, like, well, obviously, if you're in Northern California, or if you're a wrestling fan or another wrestler, that's a show you are going to absolutely go to and be on, or you're going to be. It's the who's who, right? And then I was telling you the other day, it's like, oh, there's actually other shows booked that day also. It's like,
Yeah.
so this it just blew my mind. And then I just heard Ugly talking about how excited he was about that show, and hopefully it sells out. It's a small venue. It's like, this fucking thing better sell out. Like like all the matches that are on there that are the matches that you've never seen before, you want to see, and I can't imagine that it wouldn't sell out. But at the same time, it's like, who really knows? You got other stuff going on, and hopefully it sells out, but you just never know, man.
Well, that's the problem. When I was doing the Angry Monkey, baby.
There it is. Angry Monkey Jerky.
Plum jalapeno right up your butt. That stuff's great. When I was talking to Rick, because I was doing the live, that was really new and challenging. I was like, man, you know what? You were sick. I'm like, we have to I got to put something out, man, because I really do want people to know, like, hey, man, I'm serious about this. I care. I felt like shit that I wasn't going to be able to give. We weren't going to be able to give them something in time, man. And I the consistency of this, man, it's like, who cares, right? Like, to normal people, they're like, who cares? You don't always get the same Jim Cornette, on his podcast every time at the same time. Sometimes they miss some shit. But I was like, man, we've been so consistent, and I'm doing it. And it was real. I had a really good time, and I see a very good future once we figure all this out and get the template, and we can go live and figure out the time and be more interactive, which was really cool. But Rick said comfortably the Pacheco Square Gardens is 125, but he said you can fit 175 in there. And I said, fuck, 175 people in that building, especially with the door down. That's going to be loud, rowd and loudy. It's not going to be loud and rowdy. It's going to be rowd and loudy up in there. And one thing I was talking about is, because I remember Ugly talking about it, is like, oh, wrestlers with their girlfriends and friends and all the people that show up at the show. Guys, let's be perfectly honest here. Don't bring your girlfriends. Unless your girlfriend or your friend is working on the show, or they're working in the concession stand, or doing something, selling some merchandise. Unless they're doing something that's active on the show, buy a ticket. Support this. Support all of it. It's the worst thing in the world when you go to a show and people are just already in the building. There's already a bunch of people in the building, and you're like, who the fuck is this person? And even if you know who the fuck this person is, you're like, what are they doing? What are they doing? Why did I rent this facility for $1,200 and pay this insurance? And why did I waste all this time for this 3-4 hours to have a bunch of people around that aren't doing anything? Buy a ticket. Support the cause. I had to call a buddy this weekend. I was doing commentary at Limelight, and he pushed the baby stroller by, and he was like, yeah, he's like, I'm having a boy. I'm like, right on, man, I'm doing commentary. And then he walks by again. He goes, tonight cost me $100. And I looked at him and I was like, hey, thanks. Appreciate you, man. And then I called that guy and I said, hey, I want to thank you, because you don't ask me for free tickets. You don't just show up at the show and expect to walk in. You actually buy your tickets and support me, which that's all we can have. That's what a real friend, man, would do. A real friend would support your business. Tell me what you said about the air conditioning guy or whatever, your cable guy.
Right. No, it was my college roommate on the road. He has his own plumbing business here in town, and
Yeah.
and it's just like people are like, oh, I bet you guys have been friends for 30 years or whatever. I bet you he takes care of you. And I say, well, I would never ask him to hook me up. I would never ask him to discount his business that he makes a living on, that he puts food on his table uh, for me because I'm his friend. I'm going to use him not only because he's great at what he does, but also because I want to support what he's doing. It's like if I need plumbing HVAC work, then I call him and I say, hey, this is what the issue is, and maybe he gives me preferential treatment when it comes to getting there, maybe outside of hours or anything like that. But it's not going to be like, hey, I'm giving you a free service call. It's like, hey, you're paying the same price as everyone else. And you appreciate that because it's like, it's your business, right? You don't need to give me a discount because we're buddies. You charge me what you charge everyone else because it's your business, right? So the same should work for your pro wrestling business, right? That you're, like you said, you're paying hundreds or thousands of dollars to rent a venue. You're paying hundreds of dollars to get insurance. You're paying for all the food that you're selling with hopes that you sell that food. That people don't expect you to go, oh, hey, yeah, go ahead, grab a hot dog and some nachos and a soda. Don't worry about paying. It's like I had to pay for that, so you need to pay for it. So but we've heard about it for years. People bringing their girlfriend or their buddy or whatever, and it's like, hey, did that person buy a ticket? Well, then get them the fuck out of here. If they didn't buy a ticket, get them out of here. Like if they don't think this is worth the $10 or the $15 or whatever you're charging to watch the performance that we're doing, then they don't need to be here. So
100%.
right.
What else is the worst? Well, and I'm not saying that the boys can't come to the show. I don't mind if somebody's not working. Let's just say Ugly. Let's just throw him out there, or Oliver John. And let's just say maybe a student of those guys. If they're not on the card, I'm not going to say, hey, you can't come watch the show. I'm not going to charge you for a ticket. When it comes to a smaller venue, especially like over here at the building or one of Ugly shows or anywhere like that, it's like that's the only income that we can make off of this. We don't have extra seats to hand out because we're trying to fill this smaller place up, which is what Pacheco Square Gardens is. But the thing is like, it's okay. I'm not saying nothing about the boys. What I'm saying is people will come to the show, and one of my biggest pet peeves is, especially I make money. A lot of my thing is concession stand, right? Nachos, fries, food, burgers, fucking pulled pork sandwiches, all that shit. You walk into the venue, or your wife drops you off fucking 3 bags of fucking McDonald's or something, and you bring it into the building and you eat it there. So now nobody's gonna buy nothing from the concession stand. And then you take all your fucking trash and you throw it in the couple dumpsters, couple garbage cans that they've given us for maybe 300 to 1,000 fans to throw their trash away during the show that are going to buy stuff from you. I'm baffled at this. Like, where else besides professional wrestling, independent pro wrestling, can you just walk up to a show and just walk on in and bring your own fucking food and, oh, and by the way, I'm going to go outside and smoke a bunch of weed. And then I'm going to come back in the building and the whole thing's going to smell like weed. It's like, hey, you piece of shit. Fucking just put some lotion on. Hit some spray. Pop a piece of gum. You don't have to smell like the substance, drugs, or alcohol that you just consumed in the parking lot. And trust me, when I say some of these things, I'm not saying like I've never done them. I'm just saying, hey, man, I'm going to be honest with you. If you're here to work for 3 hours, maybe, and this might sound weird coming from my mouth after all these years, maybe don't get fucking hammered drunk. You know, it was another good thing where I was like, I have to go to AA. Because for all these years, I might have been drinking at a show or getting drunk, but it never prevented me from walking out the curtain or doing what I had to do. So the time that I couldn't pick myself up and make it out to my own show, that was my rock bottom. That's where I was like, I can't get up and do what I have to do tonight. Okay, you need help. Knew it a long time ago, but I need help. If you smoke your weed before you get there, smoke your weed after the show. You know, these guys are coming in. I had a guy, I'm not even going to say his name because I already reamed his ass at class and he knows who I'm talking about. If you think we're talking about you, we probably are, right? Haven't said that in a while. But he looked like a raccoon in Limelight that aired this last week. He's over in the corner like this, just. I'm like, you have a job to do, dude. What made you think, being so young in the business, that it was totally okay to get that slaughtered to do this job right here? And then people just come walking up. I'm showing up at the show with my girlfriend and her 3 young kids. I'm not even on the card. I'm going to throw the young kids in the fucking ring to fucking play around. It's like, why? That's a fucking liability. Your small child. You're not even on the show. Why is your kid in the ring? Why is your 2-year-old, 3-year-old? It ain't even your kid. What the fuck are they doing in my ring before the show? And then you do promos and you're like, promo, shut up. And everyone's like, that guy's rude. What are you doing in the building? So, I mean, I go off on this for an hour. We could restart this whole fucking podcast. But I was like, dude, just buy a ticket. Just support the fucking cause, man. Especially this NorCal United thing. You got so many people coming out. It pissed me off. And not because, like, Ugly's just such a good dude, but it's like, Ugly's like, hey, man, I get you're going to bring these people. And it's like, no, they shouldn't bring these people. You should buy a ticket and watch the show. And if you don't want to buy a ticket to watch the show, then, like you said, Paul, you must not want to watch the show that bad.
Right. It's not that valuable, obviously, which in this specific case, I'm thinking you're going to see all of these, one-off matches that you've never seen before, dream matches that you've wanted to see. It's like, how is this not going to be worth whatever the ticket price is? It's just, to me, that's going to be the sign of somebody's a piece of shit if they're trying to get into that show for free with all the entertainment value that there is packed on that card. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully people heed this warning and say, I will pay for a ticket or I will not be there. So,
well, I mean, what do you get? You get look at the matches you get,
Right.
Big Ugly versus Boyce LeGrand. You get Journey Fatu versus JR Kratos. Besides the match that I'm in, you get Jason Xavier, Dave Reckoning. You get Charisma from Revolution versus Beecher's Domino. That's what I'm naming matches we haven't seen. Luster the Legend versus Illumide. You know, there's a lot going on. I look at it and it almost seems like it might be a really long night. You know what I mean? I told Ugly, I said, I want to go first because I got another booking later that night. I did pull. Let me start us out, baby. I got another booking later that night. Got to get on the road. My favorite thing.
Got a long drive.
My favorite thing. I made your show, but I got to make this other show too. It's like, just pick one.
Right.
Pick one. Pick that other one. I need you here. If we gotta flip flop the booking, or you go first here to go last there, or you go first there to go last here, it's like, I appreciate the effort, but as a company that's trying to grow, that's much appreciated, really is. But in that sense, don't even waste the time. No big deal. If you can't be at my booking for what I need you to be at my booking, and you got to hop on the road to go somewhere else, no hard feelings on my end. I appreciate it, but just go do the other one. And I'll figure something else out over here. Because I don't need, and it's not, I'm not trying to come across as an asshole, but I don't need to, I need somebody that's going to be here, man. You know what I mean? We all do. We all do. And that's what I was going back saying. Too much. There is such a thing as too much. You know what I mean? You know, if your dick is 11 inches long, that's too much dick. And none of it's going to get all the way down somebody's throat. And even if you put it in a deeper vagina, let's say a 7-inch vagina, 8, 9, 10, you're going to have 4 inches of dick and loose nuts hanging out. You know what I mean? Could you imagine that? Like just that much, just just destroying the wall. I made so much food this weekend. I watched Johnny Fuego come in and just decimate soda and decimate glizzies, bro. And he didn't eat his glizzies like this. He ate his glizzies like this.
Like Rick.
Yeah, like Rick at Wiener Schnitzel. The Wiener Schnitzel, the champion of the chili dog. The chili dog champion. Wrestling comes sonified. Dick sucks for free. I mean, Rick Luxury, my best friend. But I mean, I'm serious.
That whole thing reminds me of Ralphie May. He's got a whole set about that, about having too much dick. He's like, I got a medium dick. He's like, you know, some of you people think that having a big dick is great, but that's not the case. So sometimes you got too much.
Yeah,
like, that's why I just got a medium dick.
I watched a reel the other day, or like something that was made, and the guy looks back and goes, "Yo, baby, tell me why you like me better than your ex-boyfriend, your last man." And she goes, "Oh, baby, I'll tell you why I like you more than I like him. Because you ain't got as big a dick as he got." He's like, his dick was just too big. He's like, it wasn't working down there. He's like, but you're perfect. I don't got to worry about it. And he's over here like, like that's the standard of it, right? They're like, I've got a big penis. It's like, it's like, you know who's got the biggest one in PCW? And it's not that I'm scouring the showers, but I've given him his nickname. We call him Kickstand, but I started calling him Pogo Stick Pogson. You know what I mean? No, it's just buy a ticket, man. Just buy a ticket, or Johnny Fuego's gonna just come eat 7 glizzies at your house. I mean, that was an impressive glizzy performance by Fuego. And he's just like, yes, I'm eating another glizzy. 7 glizzies, actually. I'm like, why'd you eat so many hot dogs, Johnny? And he's like, because the food was free. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, 5 minutes remain in this podcast. The food was free. It's like when you go to the buffet, right? You're like, I went to the Chinese buffet the other day and I'm just filling my plate up. And Bad News looks at me and goes, why? And I go, the black pepper chicken is fresh. The black pepper chicken is fresh. And he's like, do you think there's not going to be any more black pepper chicken the rest of the day? And I'm like, good point. And these guys come over here. I put them on a 20-minute grace period now where I'm like, okay, you can get your first plate and you can eat all that food if you want. I don't care. But Ethan Reno, get your first plate of 15 ribs, 4 glizzies, and 5 chicken on a sticks with the 8 spoonfuls of mac and cheese. Your paper plate's looking like a paper bag right now. Now, eat it all and wait 20 minutes before you go back. Because that motherfucker will eat it all and rush back in there to get another round of that. And by the time he's eating the second round, the first round starts to settle. And then he's finished the second round. And then 20 minutes later, that round starts to settle. And then you get this. Hey, a fucking coma. It's like, dude, you ate 20 ribs, bro. That's gross. That's all that is gross.
Oh, that was the one and only time that I have eaten so much food that I felt sick. Was we used to have buffet certificates. We had the Silver Legacy and the El Dorado are connected casinos, and they were a sponsor of UNR basketball. So we would get these certificates so we could go and eat. So, poor college kids, we were at the buffet, and it was like just eating and eating, just sitting there for hours and eating, just so I don't have to spend any money. I just remember getting home and just like, just engrossed, like, fuck, I'm so full and I just feel so sick. Like I've never gotten like that before or after. It was a one-time thing for me, and I was just like, the fuck are you doing? But it's the same thing. It's the same principle. It's like they're gonna make more food, man. You don't have to eat it all right now.
I'm calling your bluff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, at the burrito
You know what
place.
I'm talking about.
Yes, the burrito place.
I watched my belly start to swell up from you eating that.
That's right.
Because I had ate half the size of that, and it came out, and you were like, what the fuck, dude? You were like, I thought you said you ordered this. I was like, oh, I meant it would be cool to order that. So you ordered it because you thought I ordered it, and I ordered the one that was half the size, and yours came out. And I remember you ate half of it, and you were like, that's it. I'm taking the rest home to the family. And then but the longer we stayed and talked, it's just this conscious thing we have where we're like, oh, yeah. And we just keep eating, man. You almost finished. You had like a third left, and it still looked like a fucking super burrito.
Oh, yeah, no shit. I just remember bringing it home, and it was my wife's like, what's that? I was like, this is 1/3 of the burrito that I ordered for dinner.
Oh, yeah.
It was enough for the entire lunch the next day. So,
oh man,
it's a good spot, man. We got to hit that place up again. Maybe I won't get such a big burrito, but hey, maybe I will. I feel like it was like down on, I think it was down on Victorian or something.
What's next? Boomtown.
Boomtown. You know where we're going after Boomtown. We're going to that same spot that we went last time when Reno's mom was there, and I didn't even have to order any food. I just got there saying, "Oh, did you want this?" I guess I'll eat the rest of whatever it was.
Yeah, and you snuck out with the crowd too, man. You were slick.
Oh yeah, in and out like a robbery.
What was that place called?
Diner? I don't remember. Yeah, it might have been. Was it Mel's Diner?
Mel's Diner.
Yeah.
And then is there still Johnny Rockets down there?
I don't know.
I remember my larger friend came walking out of, we ate at Johnny Rockets, and he came walking out, and the elevation got to him, and he just collapsed and hit his head on the ground. And I was like, Jesus, man, like that's the worst right there. Give a big shout out. Maybe he's back from vacation. Hey, we're nearing the end. Larry Cabral, the lawman, tell us how vacation was. Steve, we've reached the end of this broadcast and my engagement down. It was me the whole fucking time. I did everything for you. You wouldn't have 4 kids if I didn't post your picture on my Instagram. Everybody, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to go live again. I want you guys to know I care. I care about you. I care about you buying tickets to the event. I care about you buying concession stand food. I need your likes. We need your shares. We need your comments and subscribes because that's all we got in our lives, man, is that. For Zach, primetime Reeb, and the 7-foot wrecking ball, Paul Isadora, I'm telling each and every one of you, too much dick can be too much dick. We're going over.